Welcome to my sports world. Once again, it's Friday, and we are once again looking forward to the game this weekend against the Philadelphia Eagles in Philadelphia. It is an early East Coast game. Should not play a role because the 49ers have spent the whole week on the East Coast. They have been in Virginia or West Virginia or something like that. I want to just take the pulse of the game. I know I made a video yesterday about looking ahead and what could be important. Taking the pulse on this game to me would mean, what do we look at? What do we need to see happening from the 49ers standpoint to be able to win this game? This is not going to be one of those blowout games where we go and just terrorize the team from start to end and end up with a huge win. I said something in my look ahead yesterday that I could see a 10-point win, and my prediction was 24-14. After I made that video, it came out that Greenlaw, so I'll touch that too. Greenlaw has to have a surgery, and he will be out for 6 to 8 weeks, which is quite a bit longer than I expected. I expected maybe 3-4 weeks with maybe he had a pulled groin muscle or something like that, you know. Surgery is a totally different thing. So now he's looking to have a surgery and recoup from that, and that will, according to the 49ers, take 6 to 8 weeks. That's what they say now. We know that people who have been hurt before and gone through injuries, sometimes it takes longer, and it is those problem areas. And let me tell you, as a former athlete myself, in my young days, I have had my share of injuries, both ankle, knees, and groin, and hamstring, and lower back. So I know how things can turn out. Not always for the best or as expected. So his surgery might be an easy, straightforward thing. I haven't really looked up to see what it involves. But who's to say that instead of 6 to 8 weeks, can it take 10 weeks? Then we're getting very close to end of the season. So and when he comes back, you know, when he comes back, who's to say he's in 100% fit condition to just step in and do it? Because even if you maintain and do maintenance training and exercising, there will be at least 2 or 3 or 4 weeks before he can start that if the groin problem is really bad. So it will be interesting to see, but that's for the further down the road kind of thing. That's something we have to look at when it comes down there. And this week we have to focus on the Eagles. And like I said in my video yesterday, Eagles had me surprised in the first game. Absolutely. Their defense was stout. Their defense was resolute. They played hardball. They didn't give Atlanta Falcons any room to do anything. And Matt Ryan was just diminished to like a sideline puppet. You know, he was just standing there with his hands folded and looking, because there was not much he could do. And his stats prove that he did not have a good game. And that was not because he played bad. It was because of Eagles just shutting down the Falcons. And they just they just danced and walked and run all over them on offense. Can we expect to see something similar this time around, this weekend? You will see Eagles going out to try and do it, but they will probably have a little bit different approach because it's a different team. 49ers are not Atlanta Falcons. We have a way better running game than the Atlanta Falcon had. And I kind of found it weird that the Atlanta Falcons didn't do more on short passes when you draft a guy like Kyle Pitts, who can operate and roam in that 5 to 10 to 15 yard off of scrimmage line, and get you sometimes a lot of yak. So I think that the combination of Atlanta playing poorly, bad play calling, bad play setups, and of course Eagles being a surprisingly good team. It won't be the same this weekend because 49ers totally different team on offense. We utilize the running game and RPOs and tricks in the running games way more than the Atlanta Falcons did. Atlanta Falcons was more downhill running, straight through down the middle, or maybe do a little on the outside, but they don't do much in the running game. So it's a more straightforward running game to stop. 49ers also have a bigger repertoire and on throwing, on pass games. Although I feel that maybe the Falcon had an equal good amount of receivers to deploy and use, but they couldn't because they were shut down by the edge rushers, pass rushers from Eagles. And the Eagles defense just shut down the Falcons, and I did not expect that. Because I expected the defense of the Eagles. I mean, the Eagles defense has a few good players, like elite players, and then they have a few that is of good standard. But overall, the Eagles defense should not be a total shutdown defense to most teams, and I didn't expect that against Matt Ryan, who has Calvin Ridley and a couple of other good receivers, and Kyle Pitts. I did not expect that to happen. So that was a warning shot right there. So we have to see what's happening this weekend. I firmly believe it's going to be a very tight game. Now, who's going to be the dominant factor here? Well, I think that our defense has to step up and be the dominant factor. If we can shut down the Eagles' offense, we have done 2/3 of the job. So this will be a game where we have to have our defense perform absolutely 100%. We can't do the same shit as we did against Lions, where we played good for 2.5 quarters, and then we played poorly and badly for 1.25, or 1.5 quarter. That we can't do. We cannot do that against the Eagles. Eagles are a better team. Jalen Hurts is a better quarterback than Jared Goff, and they have a better running game than Detroit. Even though Swift really turned things on last weekend, but with Sanders, Sanders is normally a bigger, better, stronger runner than Swift. Swift succeeded last weekend because we gave him room. He ran up the middle like there was a fire lane. So we just have to shut down the run game of Eagles. And if we do that, we can put pressure on the QB. So the defense, absolutely. I see that a player that will be of big magnitude for the 49ers this weekend has to be Nick Bosa. He has to show up. He has to be his old self. And he has to be rushing off the edge. And I see that he has to have a stellar game. He has to have at least 2 or 3 or 4 sacks. I don't think we can do anything less. And then you have D Ford and the others who has to do their job too. But the defense as a total has to show up. We have to shut down the Eagles. We have to hold them to 14 points. It's going to be hard, but I think that's what we have to do. Because, I don't know, there's something that is bugging me about this game. I don't know if it's the Eagles that is bugging me, it's something there, or if it's our performance. I think it has to do with our performance, because I did not last weekend when I saw the game and the result. I was not convinced on the defensive side of things. Yeah, we scored a lot of goals on the offense, but come on, it was the Detroit Lions. Anyone will score this year over 30. Most teams will score over 30 points on the Lions this year. So that was not a big task or achievement, but it was the way we slipped up on defense at the end. That really bugs me. That bugs me so bad, because we're again talking about the Detroit Lions, who are not a good team. I can't stress that enough. But then again, last weekend, all the teams that I thought would be mediocre or bad this year, like the Houston Texans, the Detroit Lions, the Raiders. Who else was it? There was one more. There was another. There was one last. There was 4 teams I had as like the absolute bottom dwellers. But all of them showed up. I mean, Browns. Browns did lose, but they played freaking good against the Chiefs. So it's not that the Browns has a terrible team, but they're always a misfit. They always make a mess of things. They never had a good season. They haven't had a good season in decades. So they're always down there in the bottom. But all those 4 teams played good and played well, and they played with convincing energy, and what they did was really, really good. Texans really took it to a step further because they won. Detroit and Browns, they lost, but oh, here we go again. Every time I make a freaking video. So yeah, the defense has to show up. On offense, who's going to be the deciding factor on our offense, and who has to stand out? Who has to be the one with the most impact? Who's the most important player on our offense this game? I mean, we know that on the defense it's going to be Nick Bosa. Nick Bosa has to come out and dominate. Who's going to dominate our offense? I don't want it to be the Eagles' defense, so we have to come out and say who on our team can, be the difference maker. Because there's always that one guy, okay? Or 2. But there's a few candidates, okay? You have a running back, either Elijah Moore or Sermon or Hasty. If one of those can do it, yeah. If we can have a smashing breakthrough running game and run for 300 yards and 3 or 4 touchdowns, then I really see this game being bagged up and won. So you might want to say, well, we have to have the running game must have the top spot. Oh, I don't know. We have to dominate the running game, that's for sure. But I don't know if that's where you're gonna find the guy who's gonna be the most important one. I think the most important one this weekend on offense would have to be Jimmy Garoppolo. I can see people saying Kittle. I can see people saying Samuel. But you know what? This game is so important. In this game, Jimmy Garoppolo has to have the same type of game as he had against New Orleans a couple of seasons ago when we went to the Super Bowl. When he went in a direct shootout with Drew Brees. Jimmy Garoppolo has to have a game like that this weekend. And our defense has to shut down the Eagles. If we can do that, then we're pretty in a pretty way on our way to win. And that's all that matters right now, is to win, because with the injuries that we have gotten on Emmanuel Mosley, Verrett, Greenlaw, Mostert, Kinlaw, and a few others. With those injuries, and 2 of them are season ending, and one is basically 40% of the season, we have to win as many games as we can before the bye week. Basically, it means we have to win every game up to the bye week. And This year, I think our bye week is like what, week 6, week 7, something like that. So if we can go into the bye week with a winning record, no losses, just wins, I can see we are being on a strong path, because after the bye week, we should be getting close to getting Greenlaw back, and probably we've gotten mostly back. So yeah, I think that would be what we have to aim for, and that means here we go again. Sorry guys, there's something about this spot in the house. I don't know what it is, and it never happens to me any other place in the house. Just in this freaking corner. I don't know. I can sit in my chair over there, on the other wall here in my office here, and do my thing on my desk over here, and do all the work. Never have a problem. No yawning, nothing. I move over here to make a video, and I start yawning after like a few minutes. I don't know what it is in this corner. I don't know. I have no clue. But like I said, I'm getting back to the game. If the 49ers can win this week and next week against the Packers, then we are in a very, very good spot, because I expected the Lions and the Eagles to be kind of like two of the easier games this season. Now it looks like they're going to be two of the most difficult ones, because the Packers, we always had a good matchup against the Packers. Our style of game do not fit the style of game or football that the Packers likes to play or play against. The Packers have always had a problem with the run game and RPOs and tricks and you know, the variety of runs, and Packers O-line offense has always struggled against teams who are very aggressive on the edge rushers and stuff like that. So you could see that the last 2 or 3 seasons, we have dominated for the most part the Packers, except for when we were like really riddled with injuries. So I think that the Packers game next week is gonna be maybe one of the more better games to overcome early on, even with a lot of injuries. This week is gonna be tougher. Eagles are way tougher than the Lions. Eagles are way tougher than the Packers coming up next week. So this is the game that we have to win. If we can win this game here now this week, then we have a chance to stand with a 3-0 after the Packers game. If we lose this game here, then we have a possibility of being at 2-1 after the Packers game. But we have to win. We have to win against the Eagles. We have to set a standard, and we have to send a message to the NFC West. We have to send a message to the NFC that we can't give the Buccaneers and the Saints an impression that they can just take it and run away with it. We need to let them know that, hey, there's a third team involved in this playoff situation. And of course, we have to send a message to the whole league that we are not to be played with. We are not to be forgotten. Just because we last year were riddled with 12 injuries and we had over half the team out. So you know, this year we just have to give the whole league a message and a notification that, hey, we're back and you can count on us. And that starts with beating the Eagles. And the play calling has to be spot on. Kyle cannot flinch on this game like he did last week. The fourth quarter last week, was riddled with really bad play calling and bad decisions all the way around. And bad player performances as well. Combine those and you have a disaster going on. And that was what fourth quarter was last week. So, a win. I'm still standing on 24-14. So until next time, guys, please subscribe and hit that like button, make a comment. I'm going to make another video right after this one. It's about about the Manchester United, who's also playing on Sunday. So my game day on Sunday starts very early in the morning with soccer, and then I move over to the football. Until next time, guys, take care.